Join us on a Saturday morning. Wanted to stream with you guys this morning. We have a special guest. Um, I think most of you know who she is. If you don't know, then now you're going to be introduced to my guest. She goes by the YouTube handle Nylah Says. Last time at least I heard Nylah, she's from the uh, black founded city by the name of Chicago, Illinois. So, Nylah, thank you for joining us on the show today. Nylah, can you hear me? Okay, I don't know if she can hear me or not. Nylah, are you still there? Hold on, she's here. Let me see if I can send a message. So, tell her sister to unmute herself. Hold on, guys. Well, anyway, while Nylah figures that all that out, let's see here. I thought I heard her there. Well, anyway, while we figure out this technical difficulty with Miss Nylah, I'll email her as well. Tell her to hold on. As you see we're gonna talk about this crab in the bucket mentality. How can we be free when we still have that mentality? But let's figure out what's going on, Miss Nylah there. Okay, Miss Nylah, unmute your device. There you go, Nylah.
Okay. I
All
was worried. I was like, I see him talking, but I can't hear him.
yeah. Okay. So you heard everything I was saying before. As you see, one thank you for joining us on the show. We want to
Thank
definitely get into it. Could you tell people just a little bit about yourself, Nylah? For some people probably never heard of your videos or seen your channel.
okay, so my name is Nylah. The name of my channel is Nylah. I started on YouTube roughly about 2.5 months ago. Most of the people remember me because I was one of the first people to break a story about the McClure family. And from there, I make a lot of videos talking about current events, culture, um, Black economics, and things related, everything related to the Black community.
Okay, so how did you get this exclusive? Did you just did some sleuth work, or some people came to you?
It's work. I had, to be honest, I was not that serious about it. Well, not that I wasn't that serious. I just didn't expect it to grow so quickly. And so I was just looking for a trending topic, get my feet wet. And the McClure family was trending. The story seemed to be something that everybody was interested in. And I just did a little digging. And then I got an anonymous tip about the paternity of the children. And the person that tipped me off literally told me, you can break this story. You can be the first to break it. And I didn't believe them because at that time, like I said, I had been on YouTube less than a week and I only had like maybe 200 subscribers at this point, so it didn't make sense for me to get exclusive content. So I didn't pay attention to it, and then that person came and commented on my Instagram and said the same thing, and then they deleted their comment. So then I started to research it, and I found that there was some validity to it. So I broke the story, and here we are now.
All right, so was that your? Because I heard you saying in your videos that you went through a couple of pages. Um,
hmm
how many subscribers did your page get up to before you had the
I
first?
got I got up to 10,000 subscribers within 7 weeks. And what happened is I had a video overnight that, well, not necessarily overnight, throughout the day and the night. When I got up the next day, that one video had actually garnered me about 2,500 subscribers, which got me to a little bit over 10,000. And so maybe a couple of hours after that, I was literally making my video to, thanks, for giving me such a high subscriber rate at a short time. And my video was to my channel was terminated. after that.
Wow, what's the reason?
Um, Harassment and bullying was the reason that they gave, but I didn't harass or bully anybody.
And it,
But
off of one video or three?
well, see, that was I was I was on my third strike. So
Okay,
the
okay,
reason
okay.
that my channel
Well,
had started getting strikes from the very beginning was I had made a lot of videos saying that, basically black people need to be, stop swirling. And
mm-hmm.
in one particular video, I specifically said that I was talking about how when people swirl, a lot of times they're trying to escape white supremacy by, having biracial children and living vicariously through them. And I, urge people to figure out a way to work it out with your black counterpart, because you can't escape white supremacy, in the loins of a white man or woman. And I said that, and we started to talk about the aesthetics of, mixed children and how they are put over, children of two black parents. And I made a comment, and it was just a fleeting comment where I said, and you guys are always talking about mixed children looking better. I think that if they do look good, it is because of the blackness in them. And that comment right there got me so much hate and strife from swirlers and from white people. White people did not like that I said that, and swirlers did not.
Well,
Swirlers hated it the most.
okay. So they hated that you said the baby is look good because of the black side. I've heard even women of other races say that they would like to have babies with black men because they make beautiful babies. I've heard that.
Right, I've heard it too. And ironically, there were several white women that commented under that video saying that they made better black children than black women, and because they gave them better hair and better eyes. And that what made these children beautiful is the hair texture that they were able to give them, and their light blue or light green and gray eyes. And I know that that's the stance that they're going to take, because you should feel like the beauty that you possess is superior to anybody else's. I get that. But I just didn't understand why black people didn't feel the same way. So a lot of the women who wanted children with white men, they were completely offended and were more upset with me for saying that and calling me a racist than they were with Justin McClure for saying that black people, that basically, black men were struggle pimps or something like that. He said, and he said that, black women were easy, and they were more upset with me for saying that the black features look better than they were with that white man degrading black women and black men.
Yeah, that's that. We have a section in our community that's completely lost, and I don't even waste my time worrying with them. I just don't,
Hmm.
because especially when I came back from Ethiopia, I just looked at it like that because we'll waste unnecessary time, we'll waste our breath, we'll waste everything for people that don't want it. And that group of people you're talking about, you gotta let
Right.
them go. I mean, because I see a lot of videos talking about that, and I'm like, look, can we just let's focus on what's important because we have so many important issues that we need to focus on. Those people they don't
Right.
want to change, and they'll learn their lesson. With time they'll learn.
Hmm.
So that's how I feel about it personally. Um, because like I said, it's an agenda, and I made a video about that. When I posted that video, oh Lord, it was they was angry about that particular video, I think I reposted it on my Black Junction page when I titled it the Interracial Agenda. And
Hmm.
basically, the agenda is not about black people with other non-white groups. It's about black people and white people and the promotion of it. And I talked about, what Dr. Francis Chris Welsing said about genetic survival. That's what it's about. That's why it's being pushed, and that's why you're being attacked. If you say
Yep.
anything against that, if it's about the male being the female, or the female being with the male on either side, I mean, it's just like vicious, vicious attacks. And before, at one point in time in this country, they get you strung up on a tree. You get
Yes.
what I'm saying? And now all of a sudden you're promoting it, and I just it's amazing. But like I say, it's an agenda behind it. If you study. birth rates, and and everything else. So, like I said, I said before, I think we should just fix our issues, fix our family problems, and let them deal with their issues, and let us stay out of it, because we constantly get involved. And maybe some people say they believe in the Most High. Well, if whatever reason what he's doing, why are you getting in the way? Leave it alone. Worry about our
Yeah.
issues. You know, we
Yeah, black people seem to get the most upset with you when you push for black. And I heard Cynthia say this yesterday, and I completely agree. Like they get angry when you people to be together and make black children and black people seem to get angry about that for some reason. I don't understand it. And they will call you a racist as a black person if you support the union between black men and black women.
Well, that's stupid. That's not even a definition of racism. I mean, that's just you really trying to, preserve your community, but also like I stated before, we also have to put a stop to that abortion in our community too, because
Oh
babies are
yeah.
being born, and but some people are aborting their children like it ain't nothing. Some of them are posting on social media, I'm getting this abortion. And we are short 19 million people right now, and they say that I think uh, we're not the number one non-white group anymore, and we would still be the number one non-white group, and we wouldn't abort our children. So and like I said before, I don't really hear the leaders, or whoever you want to call them, going in on that point. I don't understand that. I don't. But I guess that's a talk for a different time. But let's say will the black community purge the crabs in the barrel mentality? Now, Nyla, they always talk about liberation and we need to be liberated, but why can't we be purged from the crabs in the bucket mentality? Nyla, are you there? Uh-oh. Who got Nyla? Did the white supremacists get Nyla for talking about that subject? Nyla, if you see my lips moving, you're not you're something wrong with your thing again. Well, I'll start off so Nyla come in eventually. We talk about that liberation, 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 but we don't focus on our mentality. Like, how is it if you completely liberated from the white supremacists, right? Let's just imagine that you completely liberated. They are never your problem again. They have whatever the case would happen with them. Now we're stuck to ourselves. Do you know we have certain problems in our community that even if they was not involved, we would still have that problem. So why is it as black people, we feel that it's still okay to pull another black woman down if she's doing good? Now she come out the same conditions you came out of. She wasn't born with a silver spoon in her mouth. And let's say if she was born with a silver spoon in her mouth, um, her parents, which like I say are black as well, did well enough for her to be in a better position. Because as parents, you want to say, okay, I do well, and then hopefully I can set up a lane for my children to do well, and then maybe they can build off of that and do even better. Um, Nyla, I don't see your microphone. I'm gonna have to email Nyla again. Hold on. Let me. And now I think Nyla having trouble. She all right. I'll email her again. Maybe it'll come across her phone. Anyway, the mentality that we have in our community, it will not change even if the white man was gone right now, even when he wasn't oppressing you. And this same mentality even happened in African nations too. I once you start researching it, so I say it is something in us as a people for some reason to have an issue with another black person coming up. And why? Because listen, some black people may come up and say, forget y'all. But then may have some black people come up and say, look back and say, hey, I gotta take these many with me as I can. And I'm going to take them with me. I'm gonna pull them up. That's what I'm gonna do. You said Nala said she can't hear the audio. I can see him live on the Hangout, but no sound. Hold on, Nala. Nala, I see my sound, but I don't. You say you don't hear me? Nala, you hear me now? What's she at? I can see him live, but I don't hear no sound. Nala, do me a favor. Get out of the Hangout and then click the link and get back in. Let's see if that helps. If you can't hear me, I don't know why you can't hear me. You're not muted. Let me see. I'm gonna hit mute on this end, and I'm gonna hit. All right, Nala, unmute yourself because I muted you. Or you could. Okay, Nala, you hear me now? Cause we don't hear you on this end. I just heard your voice just now.
You can hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it was kind of like when before we started, how the audio was out for a little bit. That's
Yeah.
how it was. I could see you, but I couldn't hear you.
Okay. You got you what you got? An Android?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Cause I was wondering. Cause like I said, iPhone will be having them kind of problems. So y'all gotta get it together. What you got? An iPhone? What?
I have an 8 plus, sir.
Yeah, that's what I have. I'm waiting on that 10XS Max. You getting that one?
I'm thinking about it, but I heard it wasn't worth it. I've heard it wasn't worth it already. So I don't know.
Well, they got a
I mean,
512 gigabyte one coming out.
well, see, I'm team iPhone all the way, so I know I'm gonna get it. I absolutely will get it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Shout out to the iPhone users. Anyway, the crabs in the bucket mentality. Let's I want to get your opinion on that, Nyla, because that constantly go on in our community. Even if the white man, if he was non-existent right now, we just stuck to ourselves. We still got internal problems that we need to deal with.
Absolutely, we've got some internal problems. I do think that the crab in the bucket thing is I think it's residual effects from slavery, residual effects from the Jim Crow era, and it has something to do with and the thing about it is I believe it does come from being in poverty. However, I don't think that the poverty mentality leaves us even when we have money because we feel the need to kind of just keep the others back because there's something about looking down on somebody that a lot of us crave. And I think what it is that you some of us have worked so hard to not be considered less than. And black is almost like a class system as much as it is our culture. It's a caste and a class system as well, and that's viewed as being poor or without. So some of us, as soon as we get 3 steps outside or of 1 step outside of what is considered the financial or social norm of other black people, we want to keep them. We want to keep them behind. We want to keep them behind because looking at them side by side with us and viewing them as equals would be a constant reminder of where we just came from and where we don't want to be. And then there is that mentality of the people sometimes that are right there that well, some of them don't want to see anybody get ahead because maybe it means that I got to take a look at myself and do something different as well.
Right, right, and if it's not that, and then also what crosses into that as well is you have a group of people feel, and I think this comes from following the white version of Christianity and white Jesus. They feel
Hmm.
that anyone that's speaking up for the community, they supposed to be poor and they supposed to be
Right.
destitute. And if they have any even an inkling of finances, then that's a problem. So why is it that we feel that people are supposed to be broke, dirt, and poor? Is it just because of the mentality that we have still today from slavery, or what is that?
I think it might actually come from the institution of the church and how it's viewed. And for a lot of us, the church is the biggest institution and the biggest semblance of money in the community. And a lot of Black people have a bad taste in their mouth from, like you said, it's not, you don't have to be poor in order to speak for the said community or anything like that, but you don't have to stunt either. A lot of us have seen, our parents and grandparents struggle and, pay tithes and offerings to, a church institution. And we see the pastor, flicking it up with his nice suits on and his Cadillac, and the first lady with this ginormous hat on, while the parishioners are struggling. So I think that um, we visualize everything from that perspective. That's the lens that we view everything from.
So you mentioned, like, okay, now the churches. People already know how I feel about churches. The Black people should not be giving no tithes to no churches, and I've done a whole video,
Right.
Nyla, on tithing. I don't know if you saw that.
I
Um,
saw that video. I did.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, in 2018, if you want to direct 10% to something, shoot, if you would spend 10% of your income on Black-owned businesses instead of giving it to them, we can go somewhere. Or if you want to
Yeah,
invest 10% of your income into building Black schools for our children, that would be awesome. I can find so many different things you could do with 10% of your income that would actually
right.
benefit you.
Exactly.
Even if you took 10% of your income, Nyla, and put it in a money market account, or even just in the
Absolutely.
bank as a savings account, get your Black-owned bank.
Absolutely.
But
I was raised too. My dad taught us that we were supposed to live off of 60% of our income.
mm-hmm.
And that is a principle that I have tried to follow my entire life. It's hard. It's not easy. You definitely have to build yourself up to it, but with discipline, you can do it. And he's always taught that you should be saving 20% of everything that I don't care what it is that you get, 20% of it you need to put into a savings in order to take care of unexpected things. Because if you think about it, the average Black person can fall into, or not just Black people, just people in general, the average person will fall into a bad spot from losing 1 to 2 paychecks. One paycheck, or a roof needing to be fixed, or a car problem. But you would have that money if you took care of yourself first. But he was Christian, so he also pushed that tithe thing. But I checked out of that tithing thing a long time ago. So
Yeah, yeah, yes, ma'am. I mean, I have, some Black people. Well, brother, we gotta, pay our tithes. And I said, listen, if your church, and I've said this before, if your church is one of the churches that was taking that money and creating businesses, daycare centers, schools, I mean, they really doing for the community. I'm like, hey,
right,
give it to them, because they doing right by that. They creating jobs for
right,
the church members. You get what I'm saying?
right,
But you giving
right,
tithes, and then if a single mom get it really in a bad bind and they ask you, can they help them pay a light bill? You're like, I pray for you. Like, prayer
right,
not gonna pay Reliant Energy. I need some
right,
money.
right. Absolutely,
You get what I'm
absolutely.
saying? And like you say, you go back to the preacher situation. See, we have certain members in our community where we feel that they should be successful, right? So
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
preacher can live in at least in this area. It's got this area called River Oaks, and high end area. That's where Joel Osteen's at. All them areas, right? 17
Okay.
million, $20 million homes. Preachers could be over there. Nobody say nothing about a preacher. But if Nyla was to move to River Oaks or wherever that's successful in Chicago, if Nyla moved there, all of a sudden now it's a problem with Nyla.
Yeah, we do. We actually do have a River Oaks here too.
Well, every city
um,
do.
yeah. Yeah. It's funny because I was just having a conversation with a person yesterday, because another crab in the bucket thing that we don't think about is there was I was in a Facebook group, and the guy was just kind of being open about his life, and he was a I think he worked for FedEx on, on his job or whatever, had been on the job for a while. And when he gets off from his FedEx job, and granted, keep in mind, this is a black group. When he gets off from his FedEx job, he drives Uber and Lyft for extra money. And so all of the black men, and this is supposed to be one of those conscious black empowerment type of situations.
Mm-hmm.
They clowned him because he openly admitted that he took a second job, doing the rideshare program. And if and to have the mentality of black people to poverty shame, and the man wasn't in poverty. He's literally just, he has a savings goal, and he has extra time, and so he's why not. And I'm the same way. I like multiple sources of income, so I will hustle. You know what I'm saying? However, I can get it legally and honestly. Whoever gets enough, nobody ever can get enough income. So to shade another black man for taking an honest job, when you would shade him for asking you for money, you know it's like, are you guys afraid that he's going to end up with your earning potential because he takes a second job? Or I just don't get it. But we have this thing about tearing each other down, and it's ridiculous because, like, white folks really don't have to put black folks in their place, or make black people on a subservient level like that, because black people are fine with taking up that job. Black people have no problem with doing this social subjugation of their own people. And when you want to poverty shame, or you want to treat someone bad or be dismissive of who they are because they took a second job, or even maybe they can't afford something. I've never seen any other culture do that. And I've experienced a lot of different cultures. I've lived in a lot of different places. I've never seen poverty shaming amongst people who are just two steps outside of poverty themselves.
Right. And you know anything about financial, matters at least, all rich people, okay, they have 7 streams of revenue or more.
Hmm.
And the problem is that we think, oh, I got to get a job. Okay, that's one stream of revenue. You lose that job because you got fired. You lose that job because they laid you off. Company closing up, going to China, whatever the case may be.
Hmm.
Now you're like, dog, I gotta find a job. I've been there many times, Nyla, and I was like, man, I'm sick of this. I don't want to just have
Absolutely.
one stream of revenue. You know, I
Absolutely.
I would love that. Like I said, of course it ranks how many streams you have and what you get, but if you can get all your streams of revenue to match what the main one is, oh, you
Oh
good.
yeah. Oh yeah.
You
Definitely.
yeah, you're really good. But like I say, like crabs, that them crabs, they don't want you to succeed. Black men or black women. For instance, what pissed me off was some of these situations in these cities with these beauty supply stores. They have
Hmm.
black women that actually own beauty supply stores
Yep.
and own nail salons.
Yep.
They will drive right by the black woman in her beauty supply store, the black woman in her nail shop, to go to the Chinese, and you may get some nails with a side of beat down. Okay,
Right.
you rather get that instead of going to black people because shoot, I ain't helping them, or they price is too high. X Y Z. You know what I'm saying? I said, but you'll pay all
Yep.
that money for what you want, but you don't want to go support your own.
Yep. I definitely, know firsthand about that a lot of times. And I don't get it. And just to oversimplify it, I would just say that, the old saying about, we believe that, the white man's ice is colder.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess in a lot of ways, we believe that anybody's ice is colder, or anybody's water is wetter. There's something about us that has to change, because we really do have this mentality that supporting us is not the right thing, is not the good thing. There's no honor in collective, resourcing and coupling with our own. Like, everyone else is proud to, go to someone that looks like them, that
Mm-hmm.
talks like them, that understands them culturally and socially. Everyone else is proud, but we take great steps, especially as soon as we get that $2 to $3 an hour more than who we consider less than us. When once we get that, we have to upgrade in our mind. Upgrading our lives is to go where the white folks go, or go to someone other than our own, because we don't value ourselves. We don't value black commerce. We don't value black relationships. So if you really think about it, all of this is encompassing the whole spectrum. The fact that we don't, a lot of us, and I'm not saying all, but a lot of us don't value black family. So that means that we're not going to value black relationships. We're not going to value black friendships. We're not going to value black business. We're not going to value protection of black people. We're not going to value anything black. It all starts with family. All starts with family. So you have a group of people who don't even care about having a black family. We are more supportive of anything with a little bit of something else in it. you know if they got a white mom or a white dad, we can support that, because for us that gives them a little bit more validation. Or if we feel like they are aligned with white people, culturally, we view them as smarter, because everything about us we don't want to recognize, because we are trying to get as far away from being black or supportive of black as possible.
Yeah, you're right about that. And like for me, when I go spend money, I enjoy spending money with black people. I love to talk to other people, like especially you go to restaurants, and I say, "Oh, you
Oh
the
yeah.
owner?" I say, "Okay," and I just talk to them. I try to encourage them. I try to buy a lot from them. I don't be looking, because black people. This is what we do. We go into black business, and the first thing you do, looking at oh well, that's too high, and that's this and that's that. I'm like,
Yep.
that's their prices. Support your
Yep.
brother and sister so they can create summer jobs for your kids when they
Yep.
need them.
I've experienced that personally. I'll never forget this lady telling me that she didn't want to make her full purchase and her full service from me at the time, because she did not want to put that much hand money into the hands of another woman. Now, she didn't say black woman, she just said another woman. But, for me, that whole black first thing means just that. Black first, male or female. I'm going to put, if I can, like, when I need to, do my personal shopping. And this is no BS. I literally go miles out of my way to go and support a black business. And sometimes I do pay a little bit more to go to a few of these black businesses, because I understand the business part, and I understand that when I put my money in the hands of a black man or a black woman, I can visualize that person as being me, and knowing that I need to pay my light bill and I need to pay my phone bill, and they do too. So it actually makes me feel good to think that my contribution in the community is going back to someone that looks like me. That makes me happy. But a lot of us have the mentality of, I'm going to give this black person this money and watch them drive off in a better car than me, or make them have more money than me. And that is ridiculous. That is part of the problem, us counting other people's money and trying to measure what they should and shouldn't be getting, when we don't have a problem with giving Walmart and all these other people our money. We're not asking, you know or even considering how much of our money is going into white supremacy and going into things that do not serve us. But we quickly question how much money we give a black person, because we're so worried that that person is going to be able to do more or have more than us.
Right, right. And the thing is, yes, we quickly pocket watch black people. We quickly do that. Oh,
Oh
how
yeah.
much he making? He got enough as it is. She got enough as it is. Well, why you want my money? Like, you never asked the white man why he want anything. The white man, like, white black folk get a Red Cross for years, and Red Cross, how they did the people in Haiti, and it took a long time for black folks to even consider not giving them nothing. They don't question white
Hmm.
people. No question them at all. But
Right.
us, we can't do nothing wrong. Or they gonna say, oh, see, that's why I ain't shopping at black owned businesses. Like the whole black owned business, you ready to write them all off because of one man or one lady or what they did, or one content
Oh yeah.
creator or whatever else you got going on. You ready to write everybody off. But also, Nyla, for you add on, well, people believe, there's a scripture, all right, that teach where your heart is, your treasure will be also. So meaning this,
Mm,
if your heart is for the black community, I need to follow your money. Where you spending your money? Because you have some people say, "Oh, I'm so for the black community," and you saying black first, but your money is pro-white. Your money is
hmm,
pro-Asian. Your money is pro-Jewish, pro-Arab,
yeah,
pro-Indian. It's never
yeah,
pro-black in your spending.
yeah. It's, there are definitely, in most instances, I want to say roughly 80%, maybe roughly 90% of your money, unfortunately, is going to have to go back into the hands of people that don't look like you.
Mm-hmm.
When you purchase your gas, when you pay your mortgage, your utilities, your cell phone, all that kind of stuff, you're going to be paying, by default. But the other, whatever you have left over, if you are not making it your business to support the business of someone that looks like you, that I don't trust you. And I question you. I highly question you, because we have to spend our money with Citibank and with Bank of America and with these people, because these are our mortgage holders. These are the people that hold the liens if you're financing your car and stuff like that. So we don't have a choice. But you do have a choice what barbershop you go to, what
Oh yeah.
nail salon you go to. You have a choice on, who you buy your bath products from, or who you buy your cologne. There are a lot of businesses, even, like, if you have a little bit more money, you can get your house built by a black builder. You can hire a black contractor if you're a business owner. You can call a black plumber instead of just opening the yellow pages looking for the first thing that comes up. And let's just say, because I know a lot of people have this complaint, oh, black people, aren't professional, or black people don't do this and all this kind of stuff. And there is some legitimacy to that. However, you cannot compare um, a black a black owned business that is, family owned and operated, to a corporation. You can't compare a corner store ran by black people and, maybe their family or whatever. And I'm not saying excuse bad behavior or whatever, but what I'm saying is you have to deal with your family like they're your family. Because how many of us remember the Denny's scandal and still have been to Denny's? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was probably 30 years ago, but I haven't forgot. So, but people still go to Denny's. People are still going to, people, a few, you will talk for a few minutes and say, let's segregate. We don't need to, buy this, and we're going to boycott. Negroes are still in the Waffle House. Negroes are still buying Starbucks coffee. You know,
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Um, but like I say, the banks, like I said, you can join. Like I say, one person said they part of One United Bank. We have a local bank here, Unity Bank, as a black bank. Because when we even start talking about moving our money from the white owned banks to the black owned banks, I remember, boy, the white supremacists, they were bothered by that. You would think that all the white supremacists in the chat room own the banks. I mean, seriously, like, well, why you want to do that? Like, that's racist to move your money to a black bank. Like, why do you care? Because they own code. Because mention the words, Nyla. Just try experiment. Keep mentioning boycotting certain businesses that's white owned, and start talking about black banks. Watch your chat room.
oh yeah,
Watch.
they have a problem. I've even seen where, like, we are a lot more vocal now about going to a black owned business, or when a business is black owned. Like, you'll see black people say, does anybody know where a black owned I don't know, pet groomer or something? And if you have white people on your friends list, they'll call you racist. Well, why are you looking for somebody? Why can't we just support everybody? And for people who don't get it, if you're white and you're in this stream and you don't get it, if I don't support the black pet groomer, or the black salon, the black nail salon, or the black mom and pop grocery store, if I don't make my emphasis to support them, nobody is, because you're not going to support them. Everybody is going to support white people by default. They have the money for the marketing, they have the money for the exposure, they're everywhere they need to be. How many of us know the story about Walmart basically coming and pushing all of the mom and pop stores out of the way? Out of, the different people coming in with more money, basically closing out the window for people who are smaller black owned businesses to make a pathway. People are going to support white supremacy by default because it's there. But if we don't make a conscious effort to support our own, who else is going to do it? It's hard to be in business and even, you know, get on the trajectory that you want to only, you can't just say, I only want to project to the black community as a business person,
Right.
because that would be, that would be business failure.
Right.
But you can, as a black person, say, I want to project my money to a black business when possible. And you won't fail that way. But you can fail as a black person saying that you only want to cater to the black community. And that, and that's just a numbers game.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're a certain percentage of the population. So, we have to have that understanding. So unfortunately, we can't do um segregated business, but we can spend we can do we can be segregated in our spending where
Right.
necessary.
Right. It's yeah. I mean, because every other group wants black people dollars. They don't tell them, I don't want them black dollars. You Negroes go over there. You like it used to be that way in this country, but once they
Yep.
desegregation, and desegregation was about getting black people's money. It had nothing to do with morality. And once they did, they're
Right.
like, oh, look all the money we getting because black people held their money in the community at one point in time,
Right.
and we've always collectively, even though we've been in oppression, collectively had a big spending power, even though we was put through the most atrocious things. But like for instance, like on my page at times, you'll see some black folks come through here, and maybe a white person's commenting or an Asian person or whatever, and they're like, "What you doing over here? This a black channel." I say, hold on.
Right.
I've had white people, Asian people, Arab people, or whatever donate. I've had them buy shirts. I've had them do everything. Now I'm not changing my
Hmm.
message, but if they enjoy it,
Absolutely.
well, obviously they one of the decent ones. If they supporting like that, and then when I'm in the
Hmm.
street, Nyla, I run into everybody, not just black folks. It's the majority is black people, but it is also like say Hispanics and Asians and all these different groups of people come up to me. I mean, what I'm supposed to say? Like, don't watch my show. I ain't, like you said. Okay, I'm relegating my show just to what 40 plus million, and then most of the time they ain't gonna like me because hey, who's that Negro? Okay, you can reach out to
Hmm.
the diaspora, but that's gonna be hit and miss at times because the culture thing that we have, right? So open yourself
Right.
up to the world, and I have people like writing me all the time from New Zealand of all places, saying they love my show, and I'm like, that's kind of strange, but I take it. You know what I'm saying? So
That's right.
you know what I'm saying? Be about the
That's
community,
right.
provide jobs for the community, do your thing. But it's okay if other people come in and support, just as long as they're not running it. That's it.
Right. You like staying, you come on, you support, you stay in your lane and in your place. You can't come over here, and I've told, I've said this actually on my channel. The one that got taken down, the white people will come in to try and tell me what direction I'm supposed to take and what I'm supposed to say and how I'm supposed to feel. And I'd have to, you can give me as many views as you want. You can donate to my Cash App, you can become a Patreon. But what you can't do is colonize what's going on over here. So, you are welcome to listen, and you are welcome to comment and have an opinion somewhere else. But you can't tell, you can't come over and tell us what to do though. But you can't push your viewership away either. But I'm definitely not going to compromise anything, and I'm not going to if I'm going to pander to anybody. And here's the thing, I don't care about pandering to black people because those are my people. So yes, I am reaching for black people when I'm talking, absolutely. So if that bothers white people or other people, that my message or what I have to say is not seeming inclusive or they cannot relate, then that's just unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. But I'm definitely not going to, stop, because I have had white people say, "Hey, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying about this. Maybe something I said politically, they understand. They don't necessarily like it because it doesn't sound pretty, but they understand. But am I going to say hey, don't support my channel because you're white. Mm-mm. I need my reparations however I can get them.
Yeah, I had one of them come in my chat room yesterday saying, um, "Can I subscribe to this channel because I'm white, but I don't feel welcome here?" Like, well, the only reason you wouldn't feel welcome unless you're a white supremacist. That's it. Now, if you do
Nah,
anything with
they
white
don't
supremacy,
like
that's all
being
well,
the
you ain't welcome.
minority. Yeah, they don't like being the minority. I had we were on Facebook, and you know how you have the messenger chat, and you can have several people talking in a message chat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, do you remember the guy, Kevin Martin, the young black guy who was, stomping for Trump? Young black guy, he went viral. I believe you made a video about him. You did. He was, he wears his MAGA hat, and he basically said that, I think he said, Philando Castile, um, was wrong and it was rightfully killed. Remember that young guy, Kevin Martin?
Oh, you talking
You
about? Oh
definitely
yeah, yeah,
did.
yeah,
You
yeah, yeah, yeah,
definitely
yeah,
did a
yeah,
video.
yeah. I know exactly who you
Okay,
talking about. Yeah, I typed the video with him, Masters Whipping Boy. Okay, go ahead.
you did. I remember. Okay, so I was, listening to his video and trying to figure out, like, what is wrong with this fool, and I wish I could talk to him. And honey, I put him in our chat box, and he actually, and it took a couple of days before he started responding, but then he started getting, you know on the phone with us and all that kind of stuff. And it was very, very, very interesting to talk to that MAGA coon. It was interesting. It was interesting.
Well, he's what was interesting about him? Because I'm curious.
Well, he definitely is. His problem was this. He was did he say he was, either he was I think he was adopted.
Right.
There has been some problems in his family or whatever, and we were trying to figure out, why did he have such coonish views towards black people or whatever. And why did he feel like he had to articulate himself um in a way that was mostly exclusive to white people. And I'm not talking about diction or anything like that. I'm talking about, he does not have the essence of a black man, and if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know exactly
And
what
he
you're talking about.
leans more right. So he started to basically give us the spiel about how, he was laughed at and teased because he was a nerd and all this kind of stuff. And the same story that we hear from a lot of people. And I get that, but I came up in an era where, okay, there were some people that were socially awkward and some people that may not have had, the cool clothes or whatever, and they
Mm-hmm.
got teased. It was wrong, but that was life. But they got over it, they grew out of it. Usually, you go back to the class reunion, and the nerdy guy, has blossomed and gotten over his social awkwardness. But now, they use this as a means to kind of justify, you know being on the side of white supremacy, or aligning themselves with white people, because he really does think that he's going to escape white supremacy and ridicule by mimicking them. you know and he we had some interesting conversations with him, but he ended up putting on some of his friends, because once he decided that we were intelligent and that we did not have the same echo chamber type of talking points, and he did not know how to talk politics with us, from a perspective that wasn't the norm. So because we actually understood the political jargon and the political climate, he was kind of lost. So he went and grabbed a white girl, and he threw her on the phone. And yeah, this is why I brought this up. Now I was just trying to remember why I had brought it up. And the white girl came onto the phone, and she was expecting um, some extra special love or something, some extra special recognition. And we don't, we're not gonna kiss your butt, and we're definitely not gonna treat you like you special. You in our house. This is my chat box, and so you're the newcomer. So she had a problem. She just kept saying stuff like, I feel like you guys are racist and such and such. One of the guys was like, shut up, just chill out, sit back and relax and either contribute to the conversation or, you can leave. And she just kept making a point of how she didn't feel good about being the only one on the phone. And she felt like we were bullying her. We weren't doing anything to her. We were literally just like, debating politics and conversing different things with Kevin and with our friends, and we were going back and forth. But she could not stand, like the white person that you're talking about that wanted to join your channel, she could not stand being the minority. Now she came in as the liberal, not I'm sorry, not the conservative liberal, if you know what I mean. They'll
Mm-hmm.
say that they're conservative but they have very liberal views, and they're trying to pretend like they're not racist and all this kind of stuff, but they don't even realize how racist they are and how condescending they are.
Right.
And she was just like, I I don't have anything against you people, and you guys are, treating me bad and all this kind of stuff, and I feel like, nobody's listening to me and nobody wants to hear my point of view. And I said, Heifer, you just became a black person for 5 minutes and you can't even stand it. They don't want to be the minority. They don't know how to operate in the space that we have to operate in as black people. You understand what I'm saying? Like, she did not understand what it meant to be the person in the room that did not have a voice, and that the climate around her was not catered to her needs and how she believed and what she thought. So she eventually got her butt on out of there, because we weren't playing with her. But white people will not exist in spaces where they are not being catered to. And black people, we all know this, but a lot of us, because we know this, we take extra steps to make them comfortable. We take extra steps to make, oh, don't say that, don't treat her like that, she didn't do no, treat her worse than you treat me. You know what I'm saying? You don't make extra concessions for white people to make them comfortable. They were born into comfort. This whole world is centered around making them comfortable and making them feel good about who they are. So I'll be damned if I help do that. If anybody I'm going to be overcompensating for, or pandering to, or trying to relate better to, it is people that look like me.
Is exactly, and like I'm thinking about, like, through my children's lifetime, they moved the date up to what at first it was 2050, then they say 2040 something. Now they saying 2031. I believe it's gonna move even faster. Keep going down about when they can really say they ain't gonna be in the minority. She better get used of it. She better get used
Yep.
of it. They are gonna be in the minority, and they don't like that crap. They can't
They don't,
stand
and
that.
this is why they're pushing the swirling. Because by pushing the swirling, there, when you swirl and you have, the children, you have children with white people, you create a problem with loyalty often, because that child is going to have a conflict as well as you. Because when the George Zimmerman things happen, and your father-in-law is white, and your sister-in-law that you go to coffee with on Sundays is white, you can't have the same conversations that you can have with your black family. So you have to take a different sort of stance, and so do your children. So if they push this swirling movement, they get to create a buffer group that will not align with us and not be able to identify with us, because they will be able to move in and out of both worlds, and not have to commit to either one, not have to, but be able to
Uh,
benefit
I,
because we're going to
from
accept
my
them.
but knowledge, from my experience, white people reject um biracial children, or I'll say, because you are what your father are. They don't accept children who have a black parent in the white world. They don't. I don't care how light skinned they are. Eventually, those children will be called a nigger. Period.
I
They
can I
they
can see that, but I will also
I, I've
say
I've been
even if
living
they
knowledge
don't.
about 39 years, and a lot of those
Mhm.
people have identity issues due to that. Yeah, I don't know if you saw the girl I interviewed, the one with the mom kicked her out, or whatever they did, or cut her off. I think
Mhm.
her name was Kiera, matter of fact, because she was
Mhm.
supporting Kaepernick. Her mom white, dad black. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? They will never
Well, see, those
accept.
are exceptional. I think that I get exactly what you're saying, and I agree to a point. But
Hmm.
they will, they will reject them on some levels, but they will also put them in front of us as our glorified
Oh,
overseers.
yeah, yeah. They definitely.
And that's what I was meaning. They will have us to follow those children that they can influence a little bit more because, like you said, they're torn. So they want, a lot of them want acceptance from both sides, and they get our acceptance, just on the strength of there's some black in them.
Hmm.
But reaching for their acceptance is going to garner them oftentimes better positioning, more money, more social status. Even if they are not saying 100%, come with me, they are used to kind of keep a somewhat of a social structure in between us and them.
Yeah, that's a tactic even the Chinese is using in Africa.
Absolutely.
They impregnating all these women and having all these trying to lay claim to Africa by having anchor babies. And say, hey,
Hmm.
my child is here, and I have rights to be here because my child is here, and I don't understand why that's even going on in African nations. I even read also that they have a bunch of it's crazy article that Dr. Moon shared, a bunch of sex workers even flooding that area and taking that over too. Like we don't protect our stuff, and my thing about Africa is if we don't protect that, we don't protect the family here as well. We're going to be
Right.
finished. And you're right about the mulattoes has always been used as a go between buffer class between black folk. And some
Mhm.
mulattoes, not all, but some have been used to thwart our movements and to
Yeah.
report on slave revolts. That's accurate. That's 100% accurate what you're saying. But then you
Yeah.
have some that will take a position like a Colin Kaepernick. So we have to admit, no matter what Kaepernick's doing, he came from a white mother and he had a black father, and he's doing what he's doing. So I don't know. Like you said, you're right in a lot of instances. You're right, and then I've seen them either go like Kaepernick. I see some go on the other way, trying to be like they white, and then you see some that try to go on both sides. Now that's the
And see, I
ones.
think Kaepernick proves my point so more so than anything. I'm of the mindset that Kaepernick is being used by white supremacy,
Mm-hmm.
and that he is taking, his position, as somewhat, he's not necessarily committing to the black, struggle, for lack of words. He is more of an all lives matter, all lives matter narrative that he is pushing. But he get because black people have accepted him as black, with his white mother and all that kind of stuff. He's accepted as black. We don't see past anything else. But I think that he's the perfect example. I think that Kaepernick is being used. I think that he was sincere, as far as, I do think that he wants people to be treated fairly. I do think that he wants justice for all people, but I don't think that he has a black agenda. And that is where my problem is. I would prefer, if we were going to rally behind somebody, the agenda needs to be black completely. And I'm not saying that there is no value in having biracial people or whatever support, black people's causes, but there, a pro-black agenda, as far, and not the the hokey version of pro-black, but he's kind of, in my mind, being used to pull us over to an all lives matter sort of narrative, because it is, the message. If you go to his website, and even if you when when he's talking, the message is encompassing everyone, and everyone is not having, this the same exact type of struggle, that we are having. And I'm not concerned about, you know other people, and other, intersecting with other people's problems, because every time we intersect with another movement or another group's problems, we always lose. But we're always going to give a Colin Kaepernick the benefit of the doubt because of his black side. But we also have to remember that, he has a machine behind him. He has, he has a whole machine. He has a machine behind him, and and it's very, it's pretty obvious to me. I know, everybody has different opinions, but I do think that he is a perfect example of that. But not, I don't, and I, but I don't think that he is anti-black or anything like that, or that he does not want, good stuff for black people. But I do think that he's being used.
Well, I mean, of course, Nike's using to make money. That's call it what it is. I mean, that's just quite what it is. Ford talking about, oh, they support the players now, kneeling. It's all about money. Now, I look into, him. I mean, they really came against him. A lot of them called him, all these Trump supporters called him the N word. I mean, Trump came after him. So, I mean, he don't really get accepted by white society like that. And we have some black people darker than me as athletes, scary, won't do nothing. So how is it you let this guy who has a white mother outshine you? You came from two black parents. That's the stuff I talk about at
Right,
times.
and see, that's the media machine, because there were black players. I did a video on it, and I showed all of these players way before him that threw way more money into black causes, that were taking huge political stances against police brutality. Just, I mean, going back, even, so many, football players, basketball players have been doing this same thing, but the national attention was given to Colin Kaepernick. And so when he got the national attention, and he is the one that, that was chosen for the spotlight, you got to look at the fact that, okay, he does have a white mother, right? He does have that likability factor, because he fits that prototype that is non-threatening to white supremacy. Now, understand that the Trump supporters and the average white person, of course, they don't want old glory disrespected and all that kind of stuff. But the machine behind him seeks to always um, control our visual and our image, and our understanding. So now the response level to something like what happened in Dallas, which is something that Colin Kaepernick is supposed to be standing for, against, police brutality and stuff like that. Are you mean to telling now to fight that, black men are basically taking a knee? To protest that, we're taking a knee. And I think that that is part almost emasculating, to say, we're going to support this, knee action against, killing Antoine Rose, and against all of this kind of stuff. And looking at, how they overpassed all of these black men throughout the NFL and the NBA. There were so many before him doing this and even saying it loudly, but they gave Colin the microphone. And so I just want to know why he got the microphone and no other black man got that. No other black man got the microphone.
Yeah, well, we definitely have to. Now, let me ask you a question so I can kind of go with that too. What
Hmm.
players in your research was doing it? Were they marquee players, or they
Yeah,
was like
these
just regular players?
they were well, see, you got to remember, when we say like, even thinking about Colin Kaepernick, at the time that he made his thing, when he started making his stance, the attention that he first got was his socks, right? With the pigs on the socks. That was when they first started paying attention to him.
Right.
Colin Kaepernick was benched in 2015. I had tickets, he was here in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And he was getting booed by his 49ers fans that were there. They didn't, they wasn't rocking with him. Like, nobody wanted a Kaepernick jersey. His scheme had been, kind of founded out, at this point. And once they turned the attention to, him kneeling, remember, this is 2000, I want to say this was December 2015 when I went to the game. He was benched then. So, and if you even Google articles, like right up until right before the 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 reporters went and spoke to him about, what he was doing and why he was kneeling, they were talking about his bum arm that week. So I don't think that he was a, if you were a 49ers fan, you weren't rocking with Colin Kaepernick until he took his stand. And
Well,
keep in
what?
mind, I
Well,
don't
now I gotta
have
ask
a
a
problem.
question. Like, so I'm just because I'm trying to follow your train of thought, so I'm asking questions so I can get a timeline. Um,
Okay.
okay, the year that he was on, the year they went to the Super Bowl, right?
Hmm.
What season? How long after that season that he went to the Super Bowl was he benched? Was it the next season or the year after?
It was the next season, if I'm not mistaken, when he got hurt. It
Okay.
was the
Also,
next.
okay. So
He ended
Kaepernick,
up getting hurt.
got hurt, and then he
Hmm.
got benched, but his name was still out there because I remember when he went to the Super Bowl, and they almost
Right,
could
but
have
see,
won it.
remember he yeah, they won that Super Bowl, but he wasn't necessarily. They were just about there. He was the other guy was had not left the team yet. He was still there, so he got him there or whatever. But when Colin came and when it was time for him to take the team, he fumbled. He made them lose a
Right.
Super Bowl.
Right.
And that's and I mean there were quite a few things that happened during that season. Like if you were like on my timeline and you were talking to 49ers fans before all of this,
Mm-hmm.
they were mad at him. And again, I'm not trying to take anything away from him. I understand, he did what he did or whatever, but he was not the goat. And his record doesn't look as bad because he didn't play that many games either. But we're talking about like averaging what, like, not, I mean, what did he get? Like maybe 10 out of 12 games or something like it. I mean,
Well,
the numbers just don't
no, no,
make a
no.
whole lot of
Nobody would
sense.
say he was a. I mean, we talking about player wise, Tom Brady,
Right,
Joe Montana, or even Randall Cunningham or Warren Moon or whoever else. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Nobody. He was even playing the league long enough to even get them numbers.
right.
But I do know that Marshawn Lynch has never
Yeah,
really stood for no flag. Man, he sat on the bench, and
yeah,
from what I was told, and also seeing Kaepernick started sitting on the bench too, and he wasn't paid attention to at all.
yeah,
He sat on the bench for a minute, and then
yeah.
when he talked to that soldier and he started taking that knee, that's when he got the attention. Because before he was just sitting
Right,
on the bench
because
like
the
Marshawn
soldier,
Lynch
yeah,
was.
because the soldier told him that taking sitting on the bench was disrespectful to the veterans, and he told him in order to be more respectful of following the people that had died for this country, that it would be more respectful for him to kneel. So a white man is the one that told him
Yeah,
that kneeling would be the better choice, and that's fine. But this is my problem in encompassing the whole thing. I just want you to think about this when we talk about the system and the machine of white supremacy. When you have the support of John Brennan for kneeling, this is the head of the CIA, well, the ex-head of the CIA director, John Brennan,
right.
he's in support of the kneeling. Hillary Clinton has gone on record in support of the kneeling. We have all of these, white supremacists that are in government, not definitely not, the Trump supporter or whatever. But you have all of the ones who black people have started to align themselves with, the Clintons and, the Democratic Party or whatever. But when you have the head of the CIA director aligning themselves with a black movement, or quote unquote black movement, or a movement that is, supposed to be trying to mitigate the injustices of black people, that I have to pause, because we also have to remember what the CIA has done to us historically, and what it has done, period. The CIA developed a plan called Operation Mockingbird, that most people might know about, where it talked about how they try and make people believe in lies, and put things in ways where people would believe that the truth was a lie and the lie is the truth. And then you have John Brennan, ex-CIA director, known white supremacist. Hillary Clinton, known white supremacist. We know this is the mother of mass incarceration. She doesn't care about black people, but she's supporting kneeling.
Yeah, what kneeling is in my opinion, and why they could support it is because it is not it's a non-threatening measure. It's not telling
Hmm.
you to get on some rah rah. You know what I'm saying? So Yeah,
Yeah,
they can get
yeah.
behind that easy. Yeah, I support that.
Right.
Like a lot of politicians support it. As long as the moment Kaepernick stands up and say, "Man, look, black people, we need to do this, that, and the third. Forget them." You know, the moment he started that, all that. Well, I thought he was a good guy, but he's getting a little too militant.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, I just don't see the militancy, and this is just me, Phil. I
Mm-hmm.
just don't see the militancy or the threat. And I don't see what I see is that the movement has changed more towards the attention of him when the attention was supposed to be, on the people. Like when we talk about players who have boycotted throughout the ages and not getting any attention, let like a bigger place to point out in my mind would be when Craig Hodges did it, because in 1992 we know what was going on in 1992 when Craig Hodges did it. That was when they beat the hell out of Rodney King.
Mm-hmm.
And during this time, Craig Hodges was trying to stage a boycott with the NBA. This is when the Bulls were in their heyday.
Yeah.
And he went to, how the players would go to the White House after, they won a championship or whatever. They
Mm.
customarily they go to the White House and, you know, rub elbows with the president or whatever. This was back when that was, kosher to do. Craig Hodges went to the White House with a dashiki on in 1992 with a letter to George Bush requesting that something, some, justice or else type of stuff, saying that, we need to do something about this. He was taking a political stand. He actually went to, Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson and said, hey, before we play this game, let's protest a little bit and not get on this court until we, until we get a message out here about this police brutality. Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson both told him that he was crazy, but they both are supporting Colin Kaepernick, But when the onus was on them, they was like, nah, no, thank you. And Craig Hodges was dismissed after this. He absolutely got blackballed. Um, Chris Jackson, he did the same thing. He would not, stand for the flag, and they did a compromise where, because he was a Muslim brother, and he basically, would not salute the flag, but he did, what Muslims call zikr, which was his, where he would, kind of pray or make dua is what they call it or whatever. He would pray instead of salute the flag. He got thrown out. LeBron James and them wore I can't breathe shirts.
Mm-hmm.
They did that, and while we do remember that, that was given less attention than Colin Kaepernick's pig socks.
Yeah. Now I think
You know
about
what
it.
I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I do.
These
I
are
do
even,
remember
and if
that.
you look at their, like I said, I did about it's almost I think about 45-minute video. I think I got about 25 a good 25 black players, and the difference between them and Colin Kaepernick is these are black men. And I'm not saying that, Kaepernick isn't black, because I know, that's an issue for some people or whatever. But these are absolutely, unapologetically black. And when I tell you, these men have been tweeting this stuff. They have been wearing stuff on the football field and on the basketball court, paraphernalia representing each of the men who have been slain. They were very, very vocal about it. Some
Mm-hmm.
of them, I mean, and it just went unnoticed, or they are no longer working.
Right.
And so I just think that we have to be careful, because it's easy for them to use whoever is visible and whoever we are following. I just don't think that we should put 100% into anybody that has a machine behind them, because the media controls all of this. We
But
see who they
Nala,
want us to see.
but I got a question. Um,
Hmm.
but see, then it can make you okay. Let's back up. Nyla starts doing something. Black people
Hmm.
start following Nyla, right? You
Hmm.
really on some revolutionary things that you're doing. All of a
Right.
sudden, you weren't in agreement with this. John Brennan comes out and say, I really, I agree with what Nyla's doing, or Hillary Clinton, or the media is paying attention to Nyla. Now, you didn't ask
Hmm.
them to come in, You didn't say anything to them. They all of a sudden trying to lash themselves to you. Now all these white people are lashing themselves to Nylah now. You didn't invite them in. You standing up for your
Mm-hmm.
people, but now they're doing that. They're lashing themselves on to you. So should
Mm-hmm.
we all of a sudden not trust you now because they're latching themselves on to what Nylah started?
Here's what I'm going to tell you. You don't trust anybody 100% without properly vetting them continuously, especially when they are very visible. Because I do believe that position also corrupts. I believe that just simply being in certain positions, I believe that I believe Colin has the best of intentions. I really
Mm-hmm.
do. But I think that they use these people. So if I'm in that position and you see John Brenton and Hillary Clinton supporting me, then you need to be examining me very, very close. You need to be trying to figure out where my money's coming from, who's sponsoring me. You need to be holding my feet to the fire, because yes, they can kind of, jump behind and say, hey, I support this because they want, the black endorsement. They want black people to follow them. They can do that.
Right.
But you also need to consistently vet any person that is put in leadership and that the media is making a darling out of. Because if I am truly for black people and I am fighting for black people, I will not last long as a media darling. They will not report favorably upon me for very long. It will, they can't. There's no way. They're not going to be in support of me, and unless I'm cooning, or they can benefit from me. And if they can benefit from me in any way, that is why you have to have yourself surrounded by a group of people that can, that whole iron sharpens iron thing. And you have to, consistently vet people who are in leadership, because those positions get corrupted. I was offered a position, just a lowly position, as an alderman in my neighborhood. They wanted to groom me to be an alderperson, while there is a sitting alderman who will not have been removed for another 2 years. Now, am I active in my community? Absolutely. But they did make it clear that there were some things about me that they wanted to capitalize off of, right? And
And what were
when I
they?
thought about that,
And what were they?
just being a woman, my house, and coming from a family of business owners and stuff like that, and being bilingual, and all that kind of stuff. Because they want to reach the Hispanic community and want somebody who can speak Spanish and all of that kind of stuff. So they were telling me all this
Now,
stuff,
can
and
I
it feels good
interject?
because
Can I
sure.
interject? What's the difference between? Okay, it's two things I gotta say because I'm about to hit a point with white
Okay.
supremacy. Okay,
All right.
so all those brothers that you was talking about with the NBA and NFL
Hmm.
that were doing that, what was their skin tone?
They were dark.
Mm-hmm. What is Colin
Most
Kaepernick?
of them, most of them were dark.
Okay, and
Except with
what's
the
Colin
exception of
Kaepernick?
Chris Jackson.
Does Colin Kaepernick
He's
pass the brown paper bag test?
I I don't think so. Isn't he like pretty? He's pretty racially ambiguous. And the thing is, I
Hold on.
don't
I'm
even.
talking about
Do
his
we know
skin
that
tone,
he's?
Nyla. I'm talking about his skin tone. You remember the brown paper bag test? If you're lighter than the brown paper bag, you're going to be more accepted in white supremacy than a dark
Yeah.
skinned black person. A dark
Okay.
skinned
Oh
black
yeah.
man is more threatening to the system of white
Yeah.
supremacy. They fear dark skinned black men. Okay, so
Absolutely.
they would rather prop up a lighter skinned man over a darker skinned man. Now let's go
Right.
to the women's side. Okay,
Hmm.
do you feel that maybe you're a little safer because you're lighter skinned than a darker
Oh
sister
yeah.
would be?
People. Oh, people. They'll definitely try to use that. Absolutely. And I
Okay.
and I am getting to that. That is definitely one of the factors. I mean, I'm not racially ambiguous
No,
looking
no,
or
no, no,
anything. I
no, no,
have
no,
two
no,
black
no, no,
parents,
no, no, no.
but
I could see your West African features. Nobody is denying that. What I'm saying is that this
don't be talking about my
system,
nose, Phil.
huh? No, I
I
say
said, don't
no.
be talking
Listen,
about
I
my
see your
nose.
West African features. You good? I know you a sister. But what I'm saying is that this system feels more comfortable with lighter skinned people, whether you got two black parents or you have mixed ancestry. they feel a lot better than us as dark skinned black people, whether male or female. They're highly threatened by the
Right.
male, and then the woman gets it too. And you have nothing to do with it. You have no reason to talk about your blackness, your
Right.
color, no, none of that. None of that. It has nothing to
Right.
do with you. I'm talking about white
Right.
supremacy itself. That's why they don't have
Absolutely.
no problem. Like you said, Marshawn Lynch had been sitting down for a long time. Why didn't he get propped up? You talk about Calvin Hodges. I remember Calvin Hodges back in the day. He didn't get
Mm-hmm.
propped up.
Mm-hmm.
Any dark skinned black man do something, we the most horrible thing in the world, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I think colorism do play in some of that promotion as well. But that just like because
Sure.
they said, oh, you can go talk to Hispanics. So no dark skinned
Sure.
black women don't know Spanish either. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I'm just
Right.
kind of adding that because I know the games white supremacy play. But continue.
Right. And they were using other, because see, these weren't, these aren't white people that came to my house. These are black people that
I
came.
know black people are
And
the
and
worst
and who
with
they were putting
colorism.
me against, they were pitting me against a black man. And
Mm-hmm.
granted, his politics is shaky, but they also, for me, I really did feel like, okay, um, if I accept this and I go, what do I have to concede? Because they were willing to give me everything. They were, you don't have to do, you don't have to worry about everything. We're going to do the fundraising. We're going to do this. They even told me they was going to take care of my wardrobe. So like, what, you know what I'm saying? So when people want to put a little bit of money behind you, they want to control you.
Of
That you have
course.
to concede something. So, and even back to the conversation that we were just having about the Chinese over in Uganda and places like that, they're giving money. So they expect when you give money, you are, when you accept money from people, you have to make some concessions, and you got to deal with that when you're enjoying the things that they're giving you and what they're providing for you. And I know how I am, and I'm never going to be one of those people that are PC. You understand? So I know that I would do far more damage coming to that situation, thinking that I could make positive changes, only to be met with a machine basically telling me I have to do what they want me to do and put me in a compromising position, because I would probably end up wrecking it for everybody, because I'm nobody's yes woman, and I'm definitely not going to be used to deceive my people.
Right.
But I don't think most people, a lot of people don't have that. And I'm not saying that I'm somebody special, but I do know most people have a price. And a lot of times that price ain't too high.
Yeah.
So we
So
have to
so
we have to be
hold on.
careful.
No. I need to respond to a comment. With hold on. Let me. I don't know if Nyla can see this comment. Let me go back up. Miss
Yes.
Notch. I need to respond to that. It says, "Wait a minute. Aren't you too technical playing the colorism? Oh, why did that happen? Hold on. Where'd it go? Playing the
Did they delete
colorism.
it?
Hold on. Playing a colorism game right now with part of the argument. No, I'm not playing a game at all. We're pointing out, and she's admitting that in the system of racism and white supremacy, they feel safer and more comfortable around lighter skinned black people, whether they have two black parents or whether they have a parent that's not black. I mean, that's just the history of America. I mean, it is what it is. But I will say, I've seen lighter skinned black people be more militant and more pro black than people dark as me, and I've seen people darker than me be the biggest coons. I never understood that. I would think it would be like in reverse. I mean, you really want to talk about that?
Right. 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 And a lot of times, and I do, the thing is, I do think that, lighter skinned people or racially ambiguous people, I do think that, it does need to be understood that, there is a such thing. I know people are changing this and saying that there is no such thing as, a light skin privilege, or you getting some passes because you're lighter skinned. I think that you do get some sort of privileges, and you do get some sort of passes, and like you said, they are quicker to use you. White supremacy is when you're lighter skinned. I mean, we can see that in every, in everything out here, like in advertising. You are quicker, to be used as a lighter skinned person than a dark skinned person. The symbol of beauty is closely aligned to things that are more racially ambiguous and all that kind of stuff. So to deny the privilege is crazy. But if for me, light skins who deny that there is even a privilege, that's a problem. That's a problem to me.
Yeah, I
So
mean, like I
if
say, at
we
the end of
have
the day,
to
we all
understand,
black people, Nyla, and I don't want to divide us up by the hue of our
no,
skin. We're all
no,
black people. We should all love each other, but we
yeah,
got to understand the tactics of the devil, and that's the thing
absolutely,
that he used. But like to your point earlier about if Nyla, if I went to Chicago and I actually sat down and broke bread with you and I've been knowing you for years, and then you come up and then you being known now, I'm not gonna side eye you. I don't care what you say, because if I know you and I knew you before, and I talk to you afterwards, and you still the same, you still talking the same, you still you're not being Hollywood, or all of a sudden you don't want to talk to nobody no more. Why would I side
right,
eye you because people supporting you that you had no choice? You get what I'm saying? I just don't want to sow discord among the brethren or the sisterin, right? Just because
right,
we get into a certain point now, we should be worrying about what that black person's doing, because in these other groups, especially the oppressor class, they don't divide when they people come up. They still stick with them. So I think we should stick with them unless they're doing something
yeah,
provable, not rumors that people make up. But if Nyla doing something provable, then I say, okay, we knew each other. I would say, Nyla, what's going on? Like, I mean, behind the
right,
scenes, it's not no social media talk. It's behind the scenes, and it could be,
right.
oh, nah, there people saying this crap. I ain't doing. Oh, okay, and we keep it moving. Well, we should not distrust Nyla just because she coming up. That's what I don't like. I
Right,
hate
but we
that.
should also, I also do think that it's a twofold problem with that. One is a lot of times we don't, when the person is in our midst, we don't pay much attention to them. Like, you have people that have been doing the work all the time, but because they're right next to us and that's what they do, it's not a big deal. So we don't recognize it. So a lot of times someone from the outside community will recognize that person and what they're doing and what they're contributing before the person right next to them, because quite frankly, we do take each other for granted. We take little things that that we do day to day, or that your neighbor may do. We may take those things for granted, for so sometimes somebody else recognizes it. But I do think that it should be like, it shouldn't be a surprise. Like, if you see me being celebrated by a community outside of my own, I don't mean outside of black, I mean just, let's say, a group from California is, celebrating me based on, some merit or some stance that I have. It shouldn't be as a surprise to the people that are closest to me that that is who I am, or that is what they're celebrating. So in other words, you should be able to point to my history and say, this is, yeah, that is her. We just, we weren't paying attention to it back then, but that is the trajectory that she's always been on.
Right, right. Like I said, I just don't, because we got too much of that in our community. The moment someone gets a little success, of course, if you are great, and let's say if Nyla becomes great, then people gonna just follow a great person, or people gonna want to follow the winner. Let's call it what it is. People do that. Like, they can probably care less about you, but now because Nyla's name everywhere, and you known, and all of a sudden now here they come. Oh, I've always followed you since a long time ago. Like, okay, yeah, thank you, I
Yeah.
appreciate it. But you mean, like I say,
Yeah, it's true. People do that. Like, I mean, I don't like. I'm a very small YouTuber. Like, I'm, I've always been vocal. So like, if I've had people that are my friends, like on social media or whatever before that. So I always been vocal. Like, it was my social media friends that was like, you need to do something on YouTube. You need to do this. You need to do a podcast. You need to do. People like were literally telling me, do this, do this, do that. So when I did it, what I noticed was some of the people were kind of like, well, what do you think you're doing? You know, or just, kind of off put by me actually doing what they too have been seeing other people saying that I should do. But I will say that the majority of, my friends, my social media comrades, and my, people in real, close to me in real life, they have been very supportive too. And I just want to say, this thing too, we do have a conception about, we were talking about it because there is this notion of us not necessarily supporting Black people or Black businesses. And that is true. We need to get better than in that area. But I must say that there is hope, because I am nobody. I am, not a well-known entity, but people have been supporting me. People have been supporting, people have been joining my Patreon, people have been trying to help my platform grow. I mean, people like you, I mean, you have a huge platform. I'm sure you have much more relevant people to take up time with on a Saturday, but you're sharing with me right now, and those things I think shouldn't go unnoticed. So there is some sort of hope, because we are trying to come around, it seems, to, maybe giving each other a helping hand, or, just contributing to each other.
Yeah, right. And like I said, I'm unknown too, just like you, and I'm on the rough side of the mountain, just like you. Trust me. I'm trust me. I've totally. If you to me, you're known when you go anywhere and everybody know you. So no, I'm unknown, just like you are unknown. Um,
Right.
but like I said, I'm the type of person. I hear somebody making some good content, they're making good points. It don't matter about no subscriber numbers. I mean, that'll come with time. I mean, I say, hey, let's talk to
Hmm.
good people on here. Let's bring great conversations. So, that's why, like I
Yeah.
said, we've been trying to arrange this for a minute. We just kept crossing up, but you here and
Yeah.
everything, and I thank you for that. So Nyla, can you tell people how to get to your channel and what they're gonna hear when you get there?
Okay, the name of my channel is Nyla Says. If you search Nyla Says, I'll come up. The YouTube URL is Nyla Says again, because the Nyla Says URL was terminated. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon if you just search Nyla Says. On my channel, we talk about a lot of, like, what Phil and I are talking about now. I do a little bit of celebrity gossip. Um, a little bit of entertainment. I like to have moments of nostalgia with history and apply it to current times, current trending topics, and popular culture and all things Black. So if that's what you're into, that's what I'm about. Now I will have to say, Nyla does have a potty mouth. So a lot of times you're going to come to my channel, and if I'm upset, you're going to hear it in speech.
Okay, so Nyla told you if you're going to join the Nyla Says channel, it is a parental advisory label channel. And don't go complaining about her parental advisory label. She warns you ahead of time. If you're the type of person don't like language and you're up in your feelings about that, well, don't say the woman didn't warn you. But make sure, guys, subscribe to her channel. We'll put her link in the pinned comment when this is all over. Support on Patreon as well. Give a sister a couple of dollars to pay her internet bill so she could keep doing content, pay the light bill and all the other little bills that come along with it. I tell people this: the more you support, the more content they can produce. So I
Yep.
know some of you guys like these shows like TV. You say this is your TV. Well, we don't get the big bucks from the advertisers like that. So support Nyla so she can keep giving you whatever information she decides to give you that day. Nyla be going in over there. Trust me, that's part of the reason why Nyla's here. If Nyla wasn't going in like she go in on her channel sometime, and some opinions I've heard her have, we wouldn't have this conversation. So Nyla got the juice, ladies and gentlemen. She got the juice. It just takes a little time. So
Thank you.
yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. I think tomorrow morning or so, same time, we're gonna interview with our brother, our good brother from George Macon. I like George Macon, so we
Me
gonna
too. I
yeah,
like
yeah,
him.
yeah. I met George like, at the Sign of the TV Awards.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that's a cool dude. He's really supportive of me too. Shout out to
yeah,
George.
yeah. Shout out to George. George, a good brother. So I want to thank you guys for listening, and definitely want to thank Nala for coming as well. And so see you guys next time.
Bye.